So if you remember the definition of coterminal angles, it means that they start at the same spot and they end at the same spot. So let's look at pi over 2. Pi over 2, remember we always start on the positive x-axis. Pi over 2 goes up here. This would be pi over 2. So right there, if I start here and there, I've got pi over 2. So coterminal means I also need to start and I need to stop at the same spot. So if I start at the same spot and stop but go in the opposite direction, now I've got a coterminal angle, but I have to figure out what is that angle. It's not going to be pi over 2. It's not going to be negative pi over 2, but it is going to be a negative number. And so if you remember, each quarter here is pi over 2. So I've got pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. So this is going to be a negative 3 pi over 2. And that is the coterminal to pi over 2. We can get other coterminals also, because I could change it and say, you know what, I'm going to go all the way around once, and then I'm going to go to pi over 2. And so if I look at that, all the way around once is 2 pi, plus, then I go another pi over 2. So that's going to give me, well, this is common denominator time, people. We're going to multiply by 2 top and bottom. So I get 4 pi over 2 plus 2 pi over 2 gives me 6 pi over 2. Which is not correct. What happened here? Oh, why is that 2 pi over 2? This was just pi over 2. Sorry. Okay, so let's see if I can erase here. Okay. Oofda. So I've got 4 pi over 2 plus pi over 2. That gives me 5 pi over 2. And then I have to decide, is that should be that be positive or negative? And if I look at the direction I went in a positive direction. So that would be a positive 5 pi over 2. So there's another coterminal. So some coterminal again to pi over 2 would be negative 3 pi over 2, and then also 5 pi over 2. And I can keep on doing that. I could do that in the negative direction, go all the way around once, and then meet up again or whatever. You just keep on adding 2 pi's to that. All right, let's see if we can do another one. Let me erase all this. So let's look at our next one. Let's look at pi over 4. So pi over 4 would be right here, because I'm taking pi over 2 and splitting in half, so this is pi over 4. So let's look at a negative coterminal. That means I'm going to start here and I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to have to figure out what that is as a negative. Now one way you can do that is you could count in pi's over 4, so it's basically everything split in fourths. So then what we're doing is we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be negative 7 pi over 4. You know, here's the other thing I want to point out. If you look at this, if I were to take, if I were to take this plus this, if I were to add them together, ignore the negative part, just cancel that out. Pi over 4 plus 7 pi over 4 is 8 pi over 4, which is 2 pi. So they always add up to 2 pi if you're just going in the negative direction. So I can figure those out just by going in the negative direction. Sorry, if I'm doing the negative direction one, I can figure that out by taking away from 2 pi. So let's try, let's see, let's put pi over 4 there again. Alright, so I've got pi over 4. So if you think about it, the negative version of that, let me draw that in there, the negative version of that fills up the rest of the circle, right? So if I have a complete circle, this part right here is taken up by the pi over 4. So the rest of it is going to be that coterminal. So if I look at it, if I had 2 pi and I took away pi over 4, and I get a common denominator, so multiply by 4 top and bottom. Let's see if I can do it right this time. Then I'm going to get 7 pi over 4. But then I have to look, what direction did I go? I went in the negative direction, so I'm looking at negative 7 pi over 4. So that's really a good way to find it, is what I do a lot of times is I'll draw the picture, and then I'll compare it to how does it compare to the circle. See, I could also take that, okay, so we have pi over 4 still, and I could say, what if I went in the other direction? Right? What if I went and I said, I'm going to go a full circle and then one more? Well, the full circle is 2 pi, plus I went a pi over 4 extra, So now I'm adding instead of subtracting. So I multiply by 4, I get 8 pi over 4 plus pi over 4 gives me 9 pi over 4. Okay, so that would be another coterminal. So if I'm asking for coterminals for pi over 4, I'm going to say negative 7 pi over 4, and I'm going to say 9 pi over 4. A lot of times we ask for 2 coterminals, but there's lots and lots, because you can go around as many times as you want and have a coterminal. All right, let's try another one. Oh, that's a bummer. None of that erased. Let me try it this way then. Okay, so let's do 3 pi over 4. So that is going to be right there. This will be 3 pi over 4. So if I'm looking at the negative version of this, I'll do the negatives in red. If I'm looking at the negative version of this, remember I'm filling up the rest of 2 pi. So if I take 2 pi, take away 3 pi over 4, and we're getting a common denominator, that's going to be 8 pi over 4 minus 3 pi over 4 gives me 5 pi over 4. But remember what direction we're going. We're going the negative direction, so it's negative 5 pi over 4. Now if I wanted to get a positive coterminal, I'm going to go 1 full circle and then back to the 3 pi over 4. So 1 full circle is 2 pi plus the 3 pi over 4 again. So again, I'm going to get a common denominator. 8 pi over 4 plus 3 pi over 4 gives me 11 pi over 4. So now there's another coterminal. So for 3 pi over 4, I've got 2 of them. I've got negative 5 pi over 4, and I've got 11 pi over 4. All right, let's try 5 pi over 4 now. I know that this can be a little bit confusing, which is why I'm trying to do them all here for you, and hopefully you'll catch on, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow of how to do these some more, but I really want you to try. You know, one thing you can do during these videos is you can always hit pause, try it yourself, and then hit play and see what I come up with. This is a very good learning technique, by the way, is to try it before I do it. So 5 pi over 4 is going to be right here. So if I want to figure out the negative version, I'm going to go here and go in the negative direction. So then I have, remember I'm filling in the rest of the circle, so I have the 2 pi take away 5 pi over 4. That's going to give me what's left. So I have 8 pi over 4 minus 5 pi over 4 gives me 3 pi over 4. But I'm looking at that as being negative, so I've got negative 3 pi over 4. Then I can go to the other one and say, what if I went full circle around and then back again? So I've got my full circle of 2 pi plus the 5 pi over 4 that I went again. So my common denominator is 8 pi over 4 plus 5 pi over 4 gives me 13 pi over 4. So that would be another one. All right, let's do 7 pi over 4. All right, 7 pi over 4 is going to be right there. So that's a big angle. So when I do my first coterminal, it'll be negative. I'm going to take 2 pi minus 7 pi over 4. And when I look at the common denominator, it's going to be 8 pi over 4 minus 7 pi over 4. That's going to give me pi over 4, but remember I'm going in the negative direction, so it's negative pi over 4. And then if I did the big positive one, I could go around once and then back again to 7 pi over 4. So I've got 2 pi plus 7 pi over 4. So I have 8 pi over 4 plus 7 pi over 4 gives me 15 pi over 4. So that's the second one. So those are in radians. Now, you're going to like this because degrees are actually better than radians, easier anyway, because we can think about degrees easier just because we've been doing them forever. So let's look at 30 degrees. 30 degrees would be right there. This would be 30 degrees. So my negative coterminal would be this one right here. That's going to be a pretty big negative number. Now if you think about it, a full circle is 360 now. So if I take 360 and take away 30, I should get 330 degrees. But I want a negative 330 degrees because I went in the negative direction. Now if I change that to say, what if I went a full circle and then back again? A full circle is 360 degrees, and another 30 degrees gives me 390 degrees. So like I said, it's a little bit easier with this, just because we're not working with fractions, which scares us. All right, so then we try another one. We've got 120 degrees. So here's 120 degrees. So if I go in the negative direction, I'm trying to figure out what fills up the rest of the circle. So I take a full circle minus the angle 120. And so then I get 240 degrees, but it's going to be in the negative 240 degrees since I'm looking at going in the negative direction. And then I get out the positive version, and so that's a full circle and back again. So I've got the 360 plus the 120. That gives me 480 degrees. Okay. Let's do 210. Give myself a little bit of room here. Okay, so 210 degrees, that's going to be after 180, just a little bit. So this will be 210 degrees. So if I want to look at the negative version, I'm going to have 360 minus 210 degrees. So I get 150 degrees, negative 150. And then I go a full circle and back again. So I've got the 360 plus the 210 gives me 570 degrees, and that'll be positive since I'm going in a positive direction. And our last one, got 330 degrees. That's a big angle. It's almost the whole circle. So then when I want to do the negative version, I've got 360 degrees minus the 330. That leaves me with 30 degrees, but that's negative 30 degrees. And then I want to look at the positive version, so I go full circle and back again. That's going to be 360 degrees plus 330 degrees, so it gives me 690 degrees. Now I want to point out that that's not the only option. You know, we could have gone 2 full circles. We could have said, okay, I'm going to take and I'm going to go, hold on, okay, I'm going to go 2 full circles. So I'm going to go around once, I'm going to go around twice, and then I'm going to go that much. So I've got once, and then twice, and then 330. So I could have a really big answer here. What is that? Oh my goodness. Oh, 12, 15, carry the 1. Oh, 1050. So that's another coterminal. So you have all kinds of options here. You could do that in the negative direction twice also. So you've got all kinds of options here. Now the other thing that I want to talk about, and then we'll be done with this, this is kind of a longer video, sorry. Definitions here. Complementary angles. Complementary angles. Complementary, they add up to 90 degrees or pi over 2. If you think about that, complementary 90 degrees is up here. It makes a corner. So complementary makes a corner, CO, corner. Okay, so you can help remember it that way. Supplementary angles, those ones add up to 180 or pi. Remember, they're at the same spot. And so if we look at that, if we're here, it goes all the way to here. Okay, so when you put the angles together and you get 180, it makes a straight line. Supplementary starts with S, so straight line. Okay, so if you're supposed to find the complement or supplement, so here on number 1 I'm supposed to find the complement. That means that my number, 2 pi over 5, should add up with another number to give me pi over 2. Right? Because they're supposed to add up. Complement means they add up to a corner, which is 90 degrees or pi over 2. So now it's just a matter of solving this. So I subtract 2 pi over 5 from both sides. So x equals pi over 2 minus 2 pi over 5. I got to get a common denominator, so I got to multiply by 5 and multiply by 2. So I've got 5 pi over 10 minus 4 pi over 10 gives me pi over 10. So a complement to this one would be pi over 10. Now for the supplement, For the supplement, they have to add up to a full 180, or in our case, because we're working in radians, they have to add up to pi over 2. So we need 2 pi over 5 to add up with another angle to give me pi over 2. Nope, sorry, pi. I don't know what I'm saying. And they have to add up to give me pi, right? Because pi is the same as 180. So I subtract 2 pi over 5, subtract 2 pi over 5, so x equals 3 pi over 5. I hope it's okay if I don't do the full work there. Okay, so there's the complement and supplement there. Now if you're working with degrees, it actually goes a little bit easier. So the complement, it's supposed to add up to 90 degrees. So we subtract 70, so x equals 20 degrees. All right, and then if I want the supplement, 70 degrees plus 180 is supposed to, oh, sorry, goodness gracious. 70 plus x is supposed to add up to 180. So we subtract 70 from both sides, and x equals 110. So that's the supplement.